everyone. Hope everyone had a good lunch. So I thought I'd share a poem which I actually wrote an extant project I got involved with about 3 years ago. But I'll tell you why I'm sharing it afterwards. So I'm so happy, I'm so free, love to be independent and do as I please. Succeeding in education, we're turning 18, driving towards passing our tests with ease. Gazing at the twinkling stars at night, watching the colourful butterflies fluttering their wings, seeing the beautiful sunrise and set each day, and appreciating a lovely warm smile. Life was superb, life was great, and I was going to achieve great things in a while. Off to uni I shall go to study my passion in business law. Although in an unfamiliar town, adventure I shall create. But there was just one thing. Why couldn't I see in the dark or in dim lighting? Maybe it's just the stress and it will pass. Ouch! Where did that lamppost come from? Ah! Where did that bollard come from? I'm sure they keep moving just to hit me. I was reaching over, spilling a glass of drink that was just there in front of me. Whilst picking up a drop pen, completely missing the corner of the table. Ouch, my forehead. Clumsy incidents I kept on attracting. Knocking, bumping, spilling, and missing steps. It's all getting too much now. Why me? Why not you instead? Anxious months of appointments with this doctor and that consultant. Can somebody please just finally tell me, why have I been so clumsy? How can you fix me? When can I totally see? You have RP, retinitis pigmentosa. There is no cure and there is no treatment. Struggling to keep up my pounding head, holding back my tears, a lump in my throat. The words just simply fading away. I can't hear no more. Mixed emotions of shock, fright, confusion filled my devastated, numb body. Instantly, my life has changed so quickly. Is this just happening to me or everybody? Questions overloaded my mind. Will I ever be able to drive my dream car, a red Lamborghini? Can I still go to uni? But what will my friends and family think? You will lose your vision one day. Years down the line, months may pass, or you may notice deterioration in weeks. The horrifying words just kept playing over and over and over in my mind. I couldn't control my painful, angry tears from falling onto my cheeks. The reason I shared that today is because my diagnosis of retinitis pigmentosa back in 1997, I now realize was a brutal diagnosis. I was offered no support, no emotional support, no signposting, just given the fact that basically go away and basically go blind. The reason I'm also sharing that is because, quite shockingly and sadly, these diagnoses that I had are not uncommon. I work with a lot of vision impaired people, and it absolutely devastates me when they say to me that they were offered no support. So these diagnoses that they're facing is like history repeating itself, and I thought we would have moved on by then. Moving forward, I basically isolated myself for 2 years. I had no support or anything, and it was by chance my mom came across a piece of leaflet that I rang and finally completed my education with a little bit of support with large print papers, extra time for my exams. I got married a few years later, moved to London, and when I had my first child, I was never prepared or told that there may be a possibility that you could lose more sight, but that's what happened. I purposely bought a big, bulky pushchair, because when I was out and about, I was never introduced to cane or any rehab support. And the reason I bought a big bulky pushchair was because if I did bump into a lamppost or a bollard or a person or a tree or whatever it may be, my daughter wouldn't get hit. It would be actually the pushchair. I later had another child 4 years later, and again my vision deteriorated, but this time quite significantly, that I couldn't actually go out safely. Dropping the children, like a basic thing of taking my kids to school was a challenge, and in fact I actually dreaded it each time. I mean, I was quite lucky that sometimes my husband worked around at home so he could do the drop and pick up, but not always. I couldn't find the school gate. I'd come home or I'd cry because I couldn't find my own house. While I was collecting, I couldn't find the actual classroom where my daughter was in, and sometimes I've had another child come up to me and I've held their hand and then I've got another mum screaming, "That's my child!" So, but there was no, these are the kind of barriers that I had. When she actually started nursery, it was afternoon nursery, and I had to walk through a playground with other children. And I had a phone call from the head teacher saying that I'm a bit of a hazard and they don't want me to drop my daughter in from the playground. Please, can you drop her to reception? I accepted that because I didn't know any better. I absolutely hated my daughter having to be different and not be able to play with her friends before the gates opened or before her classroom door opened. But in fact, she had to wait in reception and then be called in afterwards. I later moved to a different borough, and that's when I got access to rehab support, which dramatically really changed my life for the better. I was introduced to the cane, which I didn't accept at first, if I'm honest, but simple things like putting a yellow strip outside my front door, which actually helped me identify my house. It got to a point where I was coming home from school that I nearly veered off onto a main road, and that's when I knew that I can't continue like this, that I do need to use a white cane. But again, that was introduced to me almost 14 years after my diagnosis, and also by coincidence. I was waiting at my local eye hospital appointment and there was a poster being put up for a charity, and my husband saw the words retinitis pigmentosa. We went along to it, and that was the first time I was introduced to Retina UK, back then known as RP Fighting Blindness. I actually met people my age, going through the same things, feeling the same, had the same questions, and for the first time in my life, I didn't feel alone. But these were the barriers I was faced with because there was nobody that actually told me about any of the support that was available. I never had any emotional support, signposting to social groups, nothing, and this was the first time I actually felt I could breathe. I started attending more and more events that Retina UK were putting on, and I soon started volunteering on their helpline. I then started volunteering for the RNIB as their telephone facilitator, and then I soon started volunteering as an eye clinic liaison support officer run by the Thomas Pocklington Trust back then. The volunteering experiences I had actually gave me the confidence to actually talk openly about my sight loss and offer that emotional support to other people. But if it wasn't for those experiences, I don't know where I would have been now. That confidence grew and it enabled me to get a full-time job back then as an activities coordinator for East London Vision, and now I'm the engagement manager for London Vision. But the barriers don't stop there because it was a struggle. I knew I could physically do the job. I knew I had the skills to do a job, but without having the experiences, the skills, something to put down on your CV, who is going to employ you? And the added fact that I was going blind, I didn't know if I was ever going to be able to work again, but these volunteering experiences opened my doors to see that actually blind and partially sighted people are more than capable of holding down senior roles or any roles that they desire. But again, this is not openly available to everyone with sight loss. I got matched up with my guide dog about a year ago, and since then I've had several other barriers that I've had to face. Taxi refusals, time and time again. I was actually attending a family day out to a temple, and even though I emailed them to say that I've got a guide dog because on their website they said that they could offer sighted support, we weren't allowed in. We waited to speak to the manager and they just wouldn't come out to see us. So we then decided to go for a family meal out, even though we booked the table in advance, told them that we would like a table of 14, there's 13 of us, but my guide dog can stay underneath the table. Got to the restaurant, we were taken to our table, and then this man appeared who apparently said he was the manager. Sorry, you can't bring that thing into our restaurant. And I'm like, what are you referring to? He goes, that thing. I go, do you mean my guide dog? He goes, yeah, dog. I said, he's my guide dog, and all he's going to do is simply stay underneath the table. He refused us to take a seat. He then made it into a public thing where he goes, I'm disturbing the customers that are in the restaurant at the time. It's not like me, but it got me so furious, especially what happened earlier in that day, that I actually turned around and asked the customers, am I disturbing you? No one said anything, but that could be because no one wanted to say anything, or maybe I just didn't see their reaction, I don't know. Eventually, we did make a big deal, speak to the real manager, and we weren't allowed to actually sit in the main restaurant where our table was actually laid out for us. We had to sit around the corner in booths, so our family of 13 was actually split into 3-4 people. So it wasn't a family meal out. I was denied access to go into my local dentist of all places. The receptionist told me that you can't bring that dog with you. You need to bring someone with you. I'm like, why do I need to bring someone with me? I've got my guide dog, we've learnt the route. Why can't I come on my own? And she just couldn't give me explanation. She goes, I need to speak to the manager. I'm like, no, you don't. I showed her my yellow book. But again, this was something I was discriminated against in going to my local dentist. Thought I would take it to the NHS England. The following day I was working, so my husband actually filed the complaint for me. And then when I did ring them up the next day, said they couldn't speak to me because how would I be able to sign the declaration? So I simply said, if you email it to me, I've got access technology that can read it out to me and I will electronically sign it. They didn't have anything of it, and to be honest, I haven't pursued it because it was just so mind-boggling that NHS England were actually saying that I couldn't actually find my own report. But it doesn't stop there. The access refusals just continue. And actually tomorrow I'm attending an event at Westminster Plaza Hotel. And I had an email last Friday confirming that unless I provide a doctor's certificate claiming that I am actually vision impaired and that I need a guide dog, I won't be allowed in. And I just can't believe the barriers that blind and partially sighted people have to face continuously throughout their sight loss journey, whether it be access to support, services, counselling, rehab, employment, education. I mean, the list just goes on. And these are just some of the barriers that I've had to face, but I know there are more that other people have had to face myself. So it's an ongoing battle I wish we didn't have to face, but I think conferences like this today, hopefully there's a certain part of it that will educate and raise awareness of some of those issues that we can tighten up, and hopefully these don't have to continue again. Thank you.